What's up, Christ Center Mental Health community? This is me, David Lydia Sarchet, representing Christ Center Mental Health, the ministry where I talk about mental health awareness from a Christian perspective in order to give you real hope in Jesus' name, to the glory of God the Father by the power of the Holy Spirit. Alright, before I get started on this video, I just have a few announcements for those of you that are new to this channel. This channel does have a Christ Center Mental Health Facebook group and a Christ Center Mental Health Facebook page. Both of these serve for the purpose of allowing subscribers to be able to know what's going on with the ministry, to interact with me, interact with each other, and to give me content ideas. Also, you can support this ministry through prayer, and you can also support this ministry through the Patreon account. And also, for those of you that are in Christian married relationships that struggle with mental health issues, please join the Holy Matrimony and Mental Illness group. This group serves the purpose of allowing Christian married couples who struggle with mental illness a place where they can fellowship with other Christian married couples. We give each other sound biblical wisdom. We encourage one another in the faith, and we're just there for one another. So if you're a Christian married couple who struggles with mental illness, you're more than welcome to join the group. Also, for those of you that live in the Toledo, Ohio area, there's a Christ Center Mental Health Fellowship group. This is going to be where we're going to, for those of us that live in the Toledo, Ohio area, we're going to meet in local areas like coffee shops and libraries and stuff like that for a time of fellowship and Bible study and just discussion on faith and mental illness topics. Our first meetings are going to be on the 16th of this month. We're going to meet at a local coffee shop, and the times are going to be at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. So please join. Please go on the Meetup app and join the group, and I'll be looking forward to meeting you. The links to all this will be in the description box below. So yeah. All right. So I'm not okay. So my wife shared with me this article that I really wanted to talk about, and I'm not sure what I'm going to title this video yet, but there's going to be an off the cuff response to this article, because it's something that really hits me close to home, and I just want to talk about this. I didn't script this out, so like I said, there's going to be an off the cuff response, but yeah, this article is from the Atlanta Black Star, and it's from the headline says, "No one has even sent condolences. The family of a mentally ill man who was sexually abused and killed in a Philadelphia prison files lawsuit." This hits me close to home, because I've never been to prison, but I've been in trouble with the law before, and I could very easily have been this guy that this happened to, and I know my mom, because of her mental illness, she's been in jail, and this could very well have been her, and I've said this before, that mentally ill people that go off to prison or jail, we tend to get mistreated. We get treated badly. This is evidence of that, and this is just sad. I'm going to share this article in the description box so you guys can read this article for yourself. This is heartbreaking. Okay, so it starts off. It says, the city of Philadelphia is being sued by the family of Armani Fasson. I don't know if I mispronounced that. If I did, I apologize. But okay, so the city of Philadelphia is being sued by the family of Armani Fasson, 35, a man raped and murdered by another inmate in his jail cell in 2021. The filing alleges that the officers and administrators showed negligence by not responding to his cries for help and placing him in cell with a man with a known history of violence. First off, they knew this guy had a known history of violence, and you're going to see, they just took this man's old cellmate out of his cell and put his cellmate somewhere else because he was being sexually raped. This just happened. So then they put this mentally ill man in this cell, and like it's just horrible. Like it's almost like they wanted this mentally ill man to get sexually assaulted. And I hate to say this, like, but like this, like I do have respect for the law enforcement. I do have respect for law enforcement. However, the law enforcement aren't perfect and they do make mistakes. And honestly, this is one of those mistakes. Like and I can just imagine that they did this because like this guy had a previous, like, as the article goes on, talks about how this guy had, this was a violation of his probation. Him getting in trouble for theft, or getting arrested for theft, was a violation of his probation. So he obviously had a arrest history. So, like, which is common with people with mental illness. But so it was obvious. So obviously, like, the police involved were probably fed up with dealing with him, like, and they wanted to, quote unquote, teach him a lesson. And so they decided to put him in this cell with this man that was known for sexually assaulting cellmates, and he was known for violence. And so they put him in there to, quote unquote, teach him a lesson. And like it's just, and like I said, like the guy was crying out for help, and like, the article goes on to also say that other inmates were crying out for help to try and get the guards' attention to help him, and the guards ignored everyone. No one came to this man's help. Like, this is just sad. The article goes on to say the Philadelphia Inquirer reported last week that Armani Fassan's family has filed a federal lawsuit against the city. Corrections Commissioner Blanche Carney, the current Fromhold Correctional Facility Warden Michelle Farrell, Deputy Warden Nancy Ganetta, and 3 correctional officers for the death of their loved one. And then it says the lawsuit claims that the prison placed Fassan, a man detained last March on suspicion of shoplifting, simple assault, and arson, with a prisoner despite being aware of the assailant's history of violence. So, I've been in trouble with the law for theft or shoplifting, and I've been in trouble. I've never been in trouble for assault, but I've been in trouble for arson. I've been in trouble with the law for arson. For those of you that know my story, know that I've been arrested when I was a teenager for arson. Like, I very well could have been this guy. Like, the police could have been fed up with me, dealing with me, and they could have put me in a cell with someone who beat the crap out of me and put me in and raped me, and like, this is just so I empathize with this man. Like, I do, and I and like, this is why we need more education on mental health. Like, the law enforcement needs to be more educated concerning mental illness, because obviously these correctional officers were not educated on mental illness. And granted, a lot of, like, this is why I do not believe mentally ill people, no matter what they do, they should not be thrown in prison. Like, we should not be thrown in prison for breaking the law. Like, mentally ill people should be put in mental institutions where they can get treatment, they can get counseling, they can get put on medication, but we should not be put in prison. Like, I know this is gonna sound controversial, because like, a lot of people can say, well, if you do the crime, you should do the time. Well, first of all, I don't believe that someone is severely mentally ill and they're out of their mind. I do not believe that they could be held responsible for their actions. And yes, that something should be done if they break the law. Don't get me wrong, but they should be put in they should be put in a mental facility where they could be treated for their mental illness. They could get treatment, they can get counseling, they can get medication, they can be in a controlled environment where they're taken care of. Like, and it's safe. Like, a mentally ill person has no business being locked away like an animal in prison. And yes, I admit that if you start putting mentally ill people in mental hospitals, then there's going to be people that's going to like, oh, I'm going to get out of prison by declaring myself insane when they're not really insane. I mean, someone could make that argument. I mean, I don't know how logical that argument is. I don't know how true that argument would be, but someone could make that argument. However, just because some people would do that doesn't mean that we should just put mentally ill people in prison just because some people would take advantage of the system. And also, like, I think that, like, I don't know. Also, those who would do that, they will quickly learn that a mental institution is no playground. It's not. It's not a fun house. A fun house for people just to play games and bull crap around all the time. Like that, a mental institution is actually not fun at all. So like they'll quickly realize after about a week being there that they want to get out. That they don't want to be there no more. Like it's not a day camp. Like, so then the article goes on. It says, Fassan, who reportedly suffered from mental illness, was arrested on charges of petty theft and a pushing bout with a store clerk, with the arson charge resulting from him allegedly setting his pants on fire while in police custody. He was later taken to the Quran Fromhold Correctional Facility in Northeast Philadelphia. Fassan was deemed ineligible for early release because the arrest meant he violated probation for a previous theft conviction. I get that they didn't want to give him early release because this was a violation of his probation. However, put the guy in a mental hospital. Don't put him in prison. Like he should have never been put in a prison. Like this is just the fact that this man was put in prison. I mean, what did he do? Like so he pushed someone. He had petty theft and he set his pants on fire. Like all three of these are clear evidence that this man was not stable. He probably wasn't on his medication, and he probably wasn't all stable. So he should have like the way they should have done this, and this is why I like. This is what one thing I do like about California, is in California what they'll do is if someone if you call someone, if you call 911 and say this is a psychiatric emergency, then they'll send out a psychiatrist with the police to evaluate the person on the spot, and then they'll decide if the person needs to go to the hospital or not. And I like that method because it really shows that that they are taking mentally ill people seriously. And I think that needs to happen across the country. I think every state needs to do something like that because the police force and the law enforcement are getting out of control with the way they're treating mentally ill people. Like this is just sad. Like in 2022, you would think that we would be better equipped at handling people with mental illness, like who break the law. But obviously we're not. We're still not any better at handling people with mental illness who break the law than we were just 20 years ago. So like we need to fix this. And I think the only way to fix it is through more education and honestly people are gonna use this story and say, oh well, see, mentally ill people are to be feared because they're violent. And I've said this many times. Actually, in most cases, mentally ill people are more harmful to themselves, and they have a higher risk of being a victim of violence than they are to be perpetrators of violence. Um, yes, this guy had a bout with a store clerk where he pushed him. But keep in mind, that's all. So far from what we can read in the article, all he did was push him, and we don't know what all happened in that incident. Did the store clerk instigate him you don't know what happened in that situation to cause the mentally ill man to push this store clerk. And don't tell me that the store clerk did do nothing, because you don't know that. Like, you don't know that. You don't know what he did or didn't do, so you can't say what either way. Like, and I mean, the store clerk. I mean, he very well could have been mocking this man. And I know from firsthand experience that us people who have mental illness, we do tend to get mocked and ridiculed, and and we do tend to get laughed at. And so I can imagine a scenario where this mentally ill man, was maybe having an episode in public, and the store clerk um started laughing at him because he thought it was funny, or he started making fun of this mentally ill man. The mentally ill man saw this, got angry that he was being laughed at, because naturally no one likes to be laughed at, and maybe the mentally ill man got mad and just walked up and pushed him. Like, granted, that would be wrong. He would still be in the wrong for doing that, but I can understand why he would do that in a scenario like that. So do not try and tell me that the mentally ill man was completely in the wrong for pushing the store clerk, and that the store clerk was in the right because he didn't do anything, because you don't know the full story of what happened. I don't know the full story of what happened. Obviously, I'm just speculating on this issue, but like, if I can think of a logical scenario, a possible scenario that could have happened around that, then the chance that there's a possibility that it could be true. And knowing how I know from personal experience how I've been ridiculed and mocked in public by people who didn't understand my mental illness, I can understand. I can see how a scenario like that would be even more plausible. Because there's times where I've been mocked in public, and I felt like punching someone in the face for mocking me. So, like, it just, yeah. Anyways, so then the article goes on. It says, Fasan, who reportedly suffered from mental illness, was arrested on charge. Oh yeah, I read that. Okay, so it goes on. It goes on 3 days after he was admitted into the jail. According to the family's lawyer, Fasan was placed in a cell with Kevin Massey, an inmate whose previous cellmate was removed because he attempted to rape him. And then it says the lawsuit alleges that after Fasan was placed in a cell, Massey sexually assaulted him for hours. Hold on. Sexually assaulted him for hours. Fasan allegedly cried for help, but to no avail. Other inmates in neighboring cells also called out for someone to save the man, the family's claim says. So other people were calling out for help to save this man, and the guards just ignored these cries. Like, that's just sick. I'm sorry, but that is disgusting. Those guards should lose their jobs. I don't care if they have families that they're taking care of. If they're going to treat people like that, they don't deserve to have a job. They don't deserve to work in a profession where they're watching over people. Like, those guards should lose their jobs. They should be sued for every dime that they're worth. And they should also be charged with criminal negligence, and they should get the full book thrown at them, and they should be thrown in prison. And then the article goes on to say, reportedly Massey activated the sprinkler system in the block and flooded his cell at some point during the attack. Armani's body was found the following morning, naked, bloodied, and floating in 6 inches of water, the family's legal filing states. That's horrible. That's oh my gosh. Fasan was pronounced dead at Nazareth Hospital on March 27, 2021, not long after his body was discovered by a correctional officer. The lawsuit also states Fasan had a number of injuries, including scrapes and bruises to his nose, clavicle, shoulder, back, arms, legs, and neck, and extensive internal hemorrhaging. Like this just breaks my heart. Like the fact that this man could have been saved and he just wasn't, and now his life is lost because of this incident. Like this whole situation could have been avoided if the guards would have just put him in another cell. Actually, this whole situation would have been avoided if he would have been put in a mental institution instead of prison. He should have never been put in prison to begin with. So, yeah. And then it goes on. Faison's father, Ulrich, Gene 63, announced the lawsuit with his attorneys. Gene is unique in speaking on the protocol for the prison because he used to work with New York State prison guards. And then the father says, Armani has died a horrible death in the prison system of Philadelphia. He was tortured by an inmate and no one was there to protect him or help him from the inmate. Basically, what happened to Armani, I don't want to happen to any other person. Like, the only way this won't happen to any other person is if we start advocating for mentally ill people and speaking up for, especially mentally ill people in the legal system, mentally ill people who get in trouble by the law. We need to advocate that mentally ill people that get in trouble by the law be put in mental facilities, not prison or jails. Gene stated that no one from the corrections department has contacted his family about details about how Faison was raped and murdered, nor, according to the father, did the jail administration offer their condolences. Of course not, because the people in the jail are a bunch of cold-hearted pricks. I mean, sorry for the language, but they are. Like they're a bunch of they're cold-hearted, like, and they're just they don't care. They don't care that this happened to someone, because people, like, generally, like the society as a whole doesn't really care about mentally ill people. I mean, I hate to say this, but I personally experienced this myself, and I firmly believe this, that society as a whole doesn't really care about mentally ill people. I mean, the media makes us all look like we're these horrible people that should be shunned by society because we're violent and we're evil, and people have these conceptions of mentally ill people as being evil and violent and manipulative, and so they treat us like we're evil and violent and manipulative by shunning us from society and treating us horribly, and not treating us like we're decent human beings. And that's why the society as a whole doesn't care about us. And so, of course, they're not going when these law enforcement people have been trained in this way, in this line of thinking. Of course, they're not going to offer their condolences or reach out to Faison's father to um, to try and contact him with the details, and yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't expect them to. They should offer their condolences, and they should pay this family a large sum of money to 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 like pretty much give them condolence payments. But however, I do hope that this family does win the lawsuit against this prison facility. I hope that whole entire prison gets shut down, and I hope every single one of those people in that prison lose their jobs and can't get a job anywhere else ever again. And I hope that every single one of them end up homeless and destitute, and I hope that they experience the same thing that they put this man through and this family through. I mean, I hate to say this, because I know as a Christian I shouldn't wish ill will on people. However, I do believe that God's judgment is upon those who are unjust. And if you're an authority figure, you're going to be judged harsher than regular people, because you are in a position where you are over people, and if you're going to mistreat people, God's hand of justice is going to come upon you, and it's going to come upon you swiftly, and it's going to come upon you harshly, and you're not going to be able to stand against it when God does judge you. And I really hope that God does judge these people for their negligence, for their criminality, for their unfair treatment of this man. Like, this is just sad. This is horrible. Like, this breaks my heart. Yeah. Anyways, this is that. You could read the rest of the article. I'll post it in the description box below so you could check it out for yourself. But this article just makes me so angry and infuriated. Like, I can't even think straight right now. But my prayers do go out to the family. I hope the family will be okay. I hope that they do win their lawsuit against the prison system. I hope the prison system has to owe this family a ton of money. This family deserves to be compensated for their hardship, for their grief, and I hope that the Lord will comfort this family and will give them peace, and I hope that the Lord will give this family the ability to forgive the prison guards and the prison officials, because ultimately, as Christians, we should desire to forgive one another and forgive those who wrong us. As much as that is hard for us to do, and as much as that comes unnatural to us, we are called to be forgiving and to love our enemies and to pray for those who persecute us. So, at the same time, while I say this, and while I did just wish that the prison guards and the people who work in that prison will be judged by God and will will lose their jobs and all that other stuff, I will be praying for their safety, because I don't wish any harm against them. Although they do deserve to be harmed, but I don't wish any harm against them. And I will pray that the Lord will convict their hearts of their guilt, and that the Lord will draw them to Himself, and that the Lord will grant them repentance, pretty much. And ultimately, I know that even in this situation, that the Lord will use this situation for the good of those who love Him, and He'll use this situation for His ultimate glory. So I know that this situation isn't catching God by surprise. He ordained this to happen, and yes, God predestined this situation to take place. As horrible as this is, but I know that the Bible's clear that God predestines all things that come to pass, even things that seem like they're evil. And mind you, this act is evil. And I know that God predestined it for a purpose, and I know that God will use this for the good of those who love Him, and for His ultimate glory. God will be glorified in this situation. And I just pray that this family will have loved ones come around them to comfort them and to be there for them. Anyway, so that's all I have to say. This video is getting kind of lengthy, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would like to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please talk to me about this, and share this video around, and like and subscribe to this channel. Hope you have a good day. God bless you. Stay strong in the Lord. And if you were blessed by this ministry, please support the ministry via the Patreon account. If you do give to the Patreon, it'll give you access to a private Discord community for online fellowship and peer support. It'll also give you access to a daily devotional on faith and mental illness Monday through Friday and other exclusive content. And also, for those of you that are new, that have mental health issues, I do want to offer my services as a peer support. As someone who suffers with mental illness, I could be a peer support. I'm not a mental health professional, but I can offer my services as a peer support. So you could contact me at the ministry line 24 hours a day. The ministry line is 567-343-3727. Once again, that's 567-343-3727. If you call me and I don't answer, just leave a voicemail, and I promise you I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you leave a voicemail, peer support calls are my top priority over any other calls. So, yeah. Also, my team has also volunteered to make themselves available for peer support, so their emails will be in the description box below. So, yeah, there's that too. All right, have a good day. God bless you, and stay strong in the Lord. All right, bye.